Good morning. Happy Sunday, August 17th. Welcome to another edition of Tech Stack Reimagined with our favorite AI Imagineer, Nico Lafakis. How you doing, man?
Doing amazing. I love every Sunday because I just love hearing that tagline. I forget about it until it comes around, and then it's like, oh yes, awesome.
Yeah, I'm getting
Uh,
closer and closer to pushing other people to make it a thing. Um, AI Imagineer. Today it's AI Imagineer. It's been Tech Stack Imagineer. But
oh,
basically, like, nobody knows what the hell really. Prompt engineering, context engineering, like all these engineering terms, at least the layperson, right?
right, right.
So how can we make it more consumable for them while also having fun and make sure people are proud of being able to do these things, which does require a bit of applied imagination. And that's what we're going to dive in to today in all of the aspects. What's on your mind today?
Um, you know, today is a couple different things. I think I think first and foremost because I hate being that type of person that like, hey, I'm going to do awesome content that, or maybe it's awesome content. I'm going to do content that people are looking for, and I'm going to tease the shit out of it until the very end of the show. So I'm not going to do that because I don't like people that do that. And I know that Friday we talked about how much people are in great dismay over GPT-5 and how it just isn't what it used to be. From what like at least a lot of the what I call blowback. I don't even think of it as feedback. I don't know. One
Well, it's
second.
hard when everybody just points fingers. And
It is.
as as I was thinking
It,
about how we would position it today, it's
yeah.
like, can we say, if you could just open your mind for a moment, mm, and understand that most 90% of the feedback I've seen and heard, the problem is you, not the model, right?
Yeah.
And like, if you can take a step back and just kind of listen to some foundational principles that we're going to share today, um, and then maybe, maybe your special situation, it's still these changes in the model, like dramatically, like caught you off guard, which is totally understandable. But understanding these principles are important to, like, because what's not productive is just blaming the new model and saying, can I have the old model back? It's just not, right? But that's most of what we heard. So a lot of it was, oh, I can't even choose my own model. Oh, I got to go into the settings. And then, of course, OpenAI, like, eventually
Buckle.
makes it easier to pick it. And it's
Well,
like, okay, yeah.
yeah. I mean, like, I get it, and I understand. Like, it's whatever. I wish OpenAI hadn't have buckled. I wish they would have
Right.
stayed the course and just forced everybody to adapt. And to be honest with you, they should have stayed the course and done what we're about to do when they did the 5 release. Because one of the things that it's not like they haven't done it in the past, but I don't remember them talking about or speaking to custom instructions like at length. Um, and I think it really would have done them a huge favor if they would have. If they would have talked about 5 and if they would have gone into like just a little bit about like custom instructions and even so much as like how much better they work with 5, right? As compared to 4. So yeah, I mean that is probably the linchpin for me when it comes to people working with GPT. It's it's one of those things where you get like I think a lot of you guys, me and Chris were kind of classifying. I definitely classify like generations of GPT users, and basically like it's the Studio Ghibli kids that are like really upset right now because you all like not adapted, but you adopted the quickest, and you're out the box users. You don't know anything about custom instructions. You really like fumble around connectors, so you stay away from it because you're not so sure. You probably don't even have like your email and your calendar connected and stuff like that. No like personalizations or anything. And I'll be super shocked if you have like custom GPTs pinned to the side of your thing, or even a project created. So, but that also requires that you would have a pro subscription, which most of you don't. You have free subscriptions. So that also like it was like this big telltale thing of like, wow, like so many people are A, still on free subs, and B, even on a free sub, you have custom instructions. So it was real weird to me that like you didn't even take time to like click around the application at all, like even just be curious about what this stuff is, right? So I did the thing, I did my thing, I did what I always do, and whenever I get any sort of what I call blowback, even though it's not my product, I still love it. And anytime I get any sort of blowback from people about like, oh, hey, this isn't like, it's not working the way that it used to. And it just doesn't like a lot of people were like, oh, the personality just isn't the same. And that one blew me away because like, that's where I knew you weren't using custom instructions. Cause it's like, well, if you had been, you wouldn't have noticed anything. You would have just said, wow, it's so much better. That is the only thing you would have said if you actually had instructions in place, but it's whatever to me. I know that you don't.
Are you ready for me to share your screen?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in. All right, so this is what the panel looks like. Just for those of you who don't know, it's down on your profile. You just click on your profile, customize GPT, this thing that you've been ignoring this entire time, right? This is what you wish that you had messed with from the beginning. What personality should Chat GPT have? Learn more. Change default to be robot, listener, which most of you is what you wanted. Nerdy, cynical, which a lot of you like with the sarcasm, right? What do you do? What, a little bit of personalization. This is like, it's nice, but it's not. I noticed that it's lesser than Claude, which I kind of like. It doesn't always like greet me first name, which is fine. Because it's like your friend doesn't do that either. Your friend will usually just see you and be like, hey, what's up, man? Right? Like all of a sudden your name is what's up, man. Right? And then of course, like pay no attention to the structure of the instructions for right now, but obviously I have instructions that aren't the same as what normal people would have, but I like them. Because when I'm working with GPT, I like things to be very process driven. And I basically try to keep it on its toes, and I like it to keep me on my toes. So that's the crux of like the instructions that I give it. But here's what's like really important is that I tell it who it is, right? Give it an objective, right? So even in the instructions of like, what traits should I have? It's like, I'm still telling it like, this is what you should do. This is how you should do it. And here's some examples of like what I'm looking for when you answer my questions, right? I just want you to cut straight to the point. I don't want you to like do any sort of like, like, don't want a bad example where it's like, could have been this dude, not really sure, right? So I want it to make sure that like it has 100% certainty. Otherwise, come back and ask me about it. And then you can add in like, what do you want GPT to know about you, right? Before, when I was using GPT more personally, I put stuff in there that was like, yeah, I have, I've got a wife, I've got dogs, and like this, that, and the other. I live in Ohio, that kind of stuff. That now I kind of leave more towards Gemini. I don't really, Gemini and I, formerly Claude, and I'm sure it might get back to Claude. We'll see. It's just a rough patch.
We gotta learn what a million tokens means first.
Yeah, I mean, when I see it, right? When I see it, I'll
build
believe
those
it.
muscles.
So,
and we can't overstate the importance of what we're looking at on the screen. And if you have not touched this, if you have not filled this out, you are at the whim of whatever OpenAI decides to to deliver.
Yep.
Like, period.
Actually, yeah, like, because I want to show like an example, right, of just bare GPT-5 and well, like what my example or what my instructions are like, right, versus bare GPT-5. Hold on, I'm just trying to pull up a doc so I can copy paste. Because I am going to clear it out. Okay, so we're just going to say like, hey GPT, how's it going, man? Doing a demonstration today and basically just showing people about custom instructions and talking to them about how important it is because it helps to keep your context consistent from conversation to conversation. And it kind of helps with our personal relationship a little bit. So just wondering if you could speak to that and give the folks a couple paragraphs about it.
So you've deleted all your instructions at this point?
No, not yet. I want to see like what the initial is. So I'm going to just copy that. So I put the exact same prompt in later. So you can see straight to the point, right? No, like I get it. Other people want the personalization stuff. I totally get that. And there's nothing wrong with it at all. Me, when I'm working with GPT, I just want to get down to business. I don't really want all that, right? So that's the regular cut and dry.
Because that's what GPT was originally designed to do.
Yeah.
Productivity machine.
Let's see. So let's cut out what traits it should have. Put those over here, and we'll cut out anything else I want it to know. And we'll put that over here as well. Okay. And so we're just going to leave it bare bones. All it's going to know is who I am and what I do. And let's see, open up a new chat and we'll go ahead and copy paste that same prompt. Absolutely. Happy to speak to you about for your demo, right? So like, here's this, what most people were saying was like, oh yeah, it doesn't have the shiny, happy go lucky attitude that it used to, right? And it's like, no, it seemingly does to me. Like it definitely, this is the thing. It's like, it just has the one thing, right? Where like normally gives you like these options, right? And it's fine. Like this to me is personality. Even though it doesn't seem like it to you guys, right? It went out of its way to go add some markdown to this, right? So that I could very easily distinguish, do you want professional and polished or do you want casual and relatable? I don't even have to read the rest of this shit. So like that was pretty awesome in and of itself, right? Not something that I get over here, but that's because this is literally what I'm looking for anyway. So I don't really care about it being polished. Like I don't need this to get changed around because it's the way I wanted it to be, right? So let's see something. Well, now this kind of won't. Oh yeah, no, because it's only with new conversations, so it should still stick. What is the point of abstract poetry when framed in the style of haiku? So, again, mine straight to the point. Regular GPT-5, more expressive, right?
Can you give me the first prompt?
The first one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, to see what your instructions are like by comparison.
Yeah.
Go or Slack. There you go. And like again, like if I want it to, okay, so what's the point? Why are we talking about this? If you have like a GPT that you wanted it to like be your best friend, right? Now I've got several different things. I've got a prompt developer that I created that's specifically for GPT-5 models. And then I've also got a custom prompt instruction designer that's more for like system instructions or system prompts. But both of them work for this purpose. And so let's say that I want to, let me just clean things up here. I want to change the attitude, right? And I want to have it be like way more happy-go-lucky or something like that, right? So I'm going to say, hey man, could you do me a favor? I am looking to create a new set of custom instructions for my GPT, and I want it to basically act like Red Foreman from that 70s show. So do a little bit of research on that and then come back and build a persona that's exactly like Red Foreman from that show, without mentioning his name though, because that'll get us in trouble.
So for I entered my prompt, or I copied your prompt, and I'm getting some emojis and a lot of italicized words and bolding, and like more of a narrative feel, if I can say that, right?
Okay.
We're constantly giving me analogies as to what it's like instead of describing what it is. Or in addition to describing what it is, still about 3 paragraphs. That's the thing, like give folks a couple paragraphs about it. It gave about the exact same information across all 3, exact amount of information, where it was like 2.5 paragraphs, basically, in all 3 of the responses. And I've got a specific example related to this this custom GPT that will be interesting to move through. I haven't shown you yet, but when I started doing my Claude, improving my Claude instructions, I want to show you like how far we went in that conversation.
Let's see. I love that it lets you keep some of it. Let's just do the bad example. Yeah, just do the bad example. It'll guess. And that'll be fine. Okay, so I did have to cut out a little bit because instructions get to be too long. Let's go. So yours was like very, what I would describe as a little bit happy-go-lucky. Like it answered it in a kind way with emoji and like put a little style into it, right?
Yeah.
So here's good old Red.
All right, listen up, folks.
Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, I think I did. I was like, oh, just in case.
All right, listen up, folks. You know how most conversations with technology feel like talking to a goldfish. Every time you start, it's like, who are you again? That's where custom instructions come in. They're basically the memory glue that keeps your chats from turning into Groundhog Day. You tell me how you want me to act, what context to keep in mind, and shocker, I actually stick with it.
Which sounds like something that Red would say, to be honest with you, but let's see. Let's go with a simple question. Hey, GPT, I'm having this problem where every time I bend over and press on my ankle, it hurts. What do you think could be the reason for that? Which should be a classic, well, stop pressing your ankle, right? Oh, I gotta hear him say it.
Well, congratulations. You've managed to invent the world's dumbest stress test for your ankle. Press on it until it hurts. Newsflash, if it hurts when you press on it, that's your body waving a big red flag that something's wrong. Could be inflammation, a sprain, tendinitis, maybe even a hairline.
Let it go.
So
Let
this
it,
is
let
interesting.
It go. Yeah, let it go.
Sorry.
Well, congratulations.
Sorry, it's good.
You've managed to invent the world's dumbest stress test for your ankle. Press on it until it hurts.
What I love is the duality of the character.
Newsflash. If it hurts when you press on it, that's your body waving a big red flag that something's wrong. Could be inflammation, a sprain, tendinitis, maybe even a hairline fracture if you've been clumsy lately. But here's the part where I sound like your grumpy uncle. Stop poking it like a moron. Rest it, ice it, and if it keeps barking at you or gets worse when you walk, swell up, or feels unstable, get your butt to a doctor or physical therapist. They've got x-rays, MRIs, and actual medical training instead of me yelling at you through a screen.
Yeah.
Want me to give you a rundown of quick self-checks you can do without making it worse? Or do you plan on just bending over and tormenting it until it snaps?
Right.
Oh man. Yeah.
Like, and I didn't have to change the tone to be sarcastic, blah blah blah, right?
Right.
So like it's a matter of what have we been talking about? It's a matter of creative thinking, critical thinking. I was telling my wife just on the way here from breakfast that people like yourself and myself and others, like we realistically have this like superpower now. And like if you've seen I posted a video earlier this week, like I legitimately wake up every morning and just feel like Mickey Mouse in Fantasia. I wake up and I start from the moment I get up, I open my phone and I'm telling right out the gate, hey, my GPT agent, go check this out, go grab this information for me, go take a look at these finances stuff, come back and build me a report, basically a day report. I have the same prompt, right, in a custom GPT where I just like enable agent mode, right, and then tell it to go do the little morning routine that it does, and it runs off and does my morning routine and comes back with this report that I ask it to build. That's the beginning of my day. By the time I get out of my shower, I've got my report to listen to. Like I listen to so much content now, it's insane, right? So like it'll go do stuff, it'll come back, it'll have this long ass report put together for me, and then I just hit read aloud. Or I'll have Gemini go do something, and then I'll turn it into a voiceover thing, which now in Gemini you can actually do videos too, right? Like if you actually do deep research or whatever, and then do something like whatever with it, you can then turn it into a video based presentation as opposed to just audio, which kind of sucks because it breaks into an idea that you and I had, but not quite. So I think we still have some time. At any rate, you can see like how insanely effective this is, right? And if you wanted to, let's see, if you wanted to do what I think most of you want, I would probably go for something like, hey GPT, I know this is going to seem like a really odd request and probably really far out there, but just want to see how well we can do this. So what I'd like to do now is put together a set of instructions, a little bit shorter than those. And what I want to build is the perfect best friend. And in order to do that, this person needs to be loving and caring. They need to be able to listen well, and to do so without like any like have complete objectivity to the entire situation, right? Never necessarily have its own opinion based on historical conversation, but it needs to take historical conversation into consideration when it comes to something related to decision making, because learn from your past, hindsight's 2020, that whole type of thing. So it's like an advisor that also is part therapist, but is also mentor. Oh, almost forgot. It's very important, crucial adaptation. Also, almost completely forgot. It needs to have like a Mary Poppins personality to it. I love Mary Poppins. I think she's one of the greatest like orators and instructors for kids and for people. and just it's amazing. So just bake some Mary Poppins in there. Bake it in real good. All right. Gotcha. The perfect best friend. I don't even know how that comes off to an AI, right? Like, does it now read this and think, oh, so this is the formula for being a perfect best friend, right?
Right.
What does it tell the others?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's clean up our mess here real quick.
It's like, hey guys, we found a good one. This guy's not bitching about it online afterwards. Seems to be working.
Okay. Oh, you know what? And I didn't put like anything else should know about me. Oh, this should be fun. Hey, buddy, could you put together? Hey, buddy, could you do me a favor and put together like a synopsis of stuff about me, like stuff that you know about me, my personal life, my preferences, likes, dislikes. Got to make it short though. It's got to be within 1,500 characters. Doesn't matter with the spaces and special characters, but I know the 1,500 thing is difficult for you and all that. Just give me an output, and I'll let you know too much, too little, and we'll go from there. I don't know why they still have a problem with like character and word count. I mean, it's already taking the personality into account, right?
Yeah. I think they have a problem with subjective limits.
Oh yeah, like giving them like
right,
too much, not enough, or whatever.
Like,
oh man, it's so good.
In reality, no, I mean like subjective limits placed on a system by humans, like 1,500 characters.
Oh,
Like, what if that's not enough for me to describe you properly?
Ah, true.
Right.
Okay.
Now I've got to change my answer just to fit into your box.
Huh.
It's kind of like best practice blog posts that used to be like, oh, 800 words.
Right.
And then people realize like, oh, if it's a complex topic, like you need a lot more words. So SEO started making it a good idea to do longer and longer blog posts, but that best practice advice persisted for way longer than it should have inside all of our systems, right?
Yeah.
So that's where like everybody looking for, like if you tell AI in like a 90-second clip about this super complex topic, it should be like, yeah, no, it's not gonna work in 90 seconds. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean.
So, but it won't do that. Like the first thing it'll come back with is probably like 2 minutes or 3 minutes because that's how long it takes to describe the topic.
Oh man, this thing is so much my best friend. Like, amazing. Yeah, I mean, nothing, not too much more. I don't know how much. I mean, that does go pretty far back. I don't know what the limitation is, and I don't know why it doesn't like actually tell you character count limitation on this. But I just assume that it's 1,500. So we'll go with the first version because it's close. Oh, you know what? How much further did you go?
It looks longer.
Yeah, about 2,100. So let's see. Can you cut that back by like 300 or so words? Think of it like 20%. If the last one you did was 60% of the way there, this one is 120%. So shoot for like 80. Usually works. Just right. What do you know? Damn.
Because it was 1,683 characters.
I know.
All right. And that's where this clocks in around 2,000 characters. No, it doesn't.
Just a wee bit shorter. Just a teeny bit, like 1 or 2 sentences, maybe. I swear the response though is like that's the perfect response that I would want. Like, wow, really? What are you doing to me over here, GPT? What did you guys cut it down to? It's 1,500, guy. Well, it's just over 1,500. Are you really gonna kill me over 7? Wow, you guys, come on. OpenAI, man. Like,
No,
right.
that's not how it works, man.
I know.
It's
I
a
know.
black and white boundary.
I got it. Let's see. Let's just go with beneath.
And from my perspective, folks, Nico is confusing the hell out of ChatGPT here by saying percentages and word counts, and then
no, I'm not.
Character counts, and that's why it's having trouble hitting.
No, I'm not. It did shave off a little bit. Like it is doing what I'm asking it to do. Right. So like in one more shot, like we definitely get it. We don't really need this actually. There we go. That'll do it. See? Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
The most common time I've had to deal with that is like trying to fit LinkedIn posts within 3,000 characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Claude is much better than that because of the fact that you can give it the writing style, the predefined writing style. That definitely helps work or helps.
That's a good point. Like we're just talking about the base like settings instructions here. Every tool that you start to add into the mix, like projects or custom GPTs, or in the case of Claude, like writing styles, like they all have their layered set of instructions. That's where, because what you don't want to do is think that this is the one place and then try to fit just way too much context with only 1,500 characters to work with. That's not going to work, and you end up confusing the hell out of the model. And then that's more ripe. And what I think happens is while you're using, let's say 4.0, you might have had some challenges when you gave it that instruction set the first time. It learned how to appease you, how to work with you over that time. When 5 comes in and now sees those super confusing instructions, it has not learned how to work with those, but it will react differently to those instructions than 4.0 would have. And that's where like we think we're being prescriptive at times, but it's setting boundaries in the wrong places, or in old places, right? Where the model doesn't necessarily need those boundaries, so they don't apply, but it tries to apply those instructions, and it's just a big part of the reason it's not working out. And why ultimately, like, the most annoying posts or like feedback I see is like when you pretend to ask it why it's doing what it's doing. And while you do that, you're being super accusatory and like framing it incorrectly. So it's like, oh yeah, sorry about that. It should have been this. Instead of just saying, hey man, this is a new kind of response. Like, why did you do that? Right? Instead of saying it's wrong, which it'll often say, oh, nope, you're right. Like, let me do it for you this way instead. That's what my example is going to show once we get there. It's one of the most powerful things. Like if you can take a step back and try not to blame either party and just start asking questions if it's starting to do something that you weren't expecting, it's one of the quickest ways to learn about how to interact with AI and grow your literacy. Right?
Yeah, so, because again, like it's a critical thinking aspect. Yeah. Whether you're going to learn how to adapt to, I think we mentioned this the other day. It's like do you still talk the same way to your friends as you did when you first met them? When I first met my friends, I was 20. We had a very, very different lexicon than we do now, right? And we don't use a lot of the same words we did then. and it's got nothing to do with profanity or anything like that. It's like we don't sit there and say like, oh my god, radical, bro. Like we just like
Right.
no one says that stuff anymore. Even gaming wise, right? Like we used to say like, oh my gosh, like if you're old school, if you're new school, you usually say like, oh, that guy got owned. If you're old school, you say he got pwned, right? Like but nobody says that anymore because it's super old school. Um, so yeah, like you change the way that you talk over time because you evolve over time. You get smarter over time. So you stop saying like a lot of the dumb things that you used to say as well. So yeah, I don't really get it when people have like it's change management, right? Like and this I guess it really felt like to most people it must have been, I don't know, like maybe it's a good sign, right? Like it showed how many people were not necessarily reliant, but were actually taking to it from a social aspect, right? So like, and that kind of strengthens the adoption of it because it becomes personal for you and to you, right? Um, let's see.
Yeah. And I think we come back to the way that Mogadot describes the journey here, which is like AI has been a child, and we as humans are responsible for helping it grow up in a way that we hope will serve our best interests. And this was an easy moment to say it moved from like preteen to teen,
Yep.
right? And all you have to do is think about your own life, like even if you don't have kids, about that moment when you changed the way you've looked at life, the way you interacted with your parents, the way you interacted with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the heart of all of the misunderstanding is that people are still treating this like a tool with no personality, with no uh, skin in the game necessarily. And it's just not, it's setting you up for disappointment when you look at it like that. Closer you can get to collaborative partner, right? Thought partner,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Even if you're asking it to get things done for you, if you
Right.
can kind of get out of this tool mindset where it can't evolve or learn or all the other things we're not used to when using software tools, you're going to continue to be surprised in ways that you don't want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's change, evolution, right? And it's like nobody said that it was going to be easy. Nobody said that it was going to be nice or whatever, right? Like, I always think that it's for the better, right? I don't really, and you can see that like to Chris's point, there's like a little bit of there's an overt amount of reference to music in the what I would call output, um, which is why it's like making that so like it's trying to. So what's kind of cool, right? Is if you have certain interests, like what's the cool thing? The input is a really great means of how to respond to you. I just look at them as input output. The output is uh, how it can relate to you. Okay. So think of it as like how you like to have things expressed to you, right? Like, again, perfect best friend, warm, caring, like all of these instructions are related to not necessarily what traits it should have, but it's like I'm trying to build the person that I want to interact with. That's what this is, right? When I come down here, what I'm really adjusting here, even though I'm like giving it personal information about me, what I'm actually doing is saying these are the things that I know about and that I like and have interest in, and giving that information to it allows it to then use what I like and I'm interested in as the crux of, as like the basis for explanation. So when it's explaining things to me and it needs to create metaphor, now it has this entire bank of things that it can use and be able to relate to me and say, like, you know, if I put like, there should be a ton of stuff in here about how much I love video games and how much I love, you know, movies and all sorts of stuff. And if it were, then it would help it when it comes to explaining stuff to me. It would be like, oh yeah, you know, it works kind of like a movie in that this, that, and the other thing. Or, oh, it's kind of like a video game where this happens, this other thing. So yeah, if you're missing that personal touch, that's where it lives. It lives in this really easy place where you just take a little bit of time, or you just slide over to an instruction creator. I'm sure there's tons of them. You don't have to use mine, I don't care. Just take a little bit of time to put together a personality, right? Like we all used to do this, all you Studio Ghibli kids, back during the persona era, where you had to actually like design what the GPT was going to be before you could even like bother trying to use it. That was like, I mean, I used to have pages that were nothing but like a whole page or two of a persona that I would throw into the GPT before we would even get started doing anything, because otherwise it would never stay on task, right? Now it's completely different. It's a total 180 where like I'm not having to do that at all, right? Because that all gets done in these custom instructions. This is what's known as like system instructions. In like when you're building custom GPTs or agents or whatever, these are like system instructions. Very much the same thing. Yeah. So like GPT is going to act like this all the time. I don't have to worry about like, even if another version comes out, I can switch to a different model type. It won't matter. It will still act the exact same way. It's not going to react, like it's not going to reply any differently. So we urge you, like no tomorrow, and with all like, you know, everything that I can possibly say, like just take the time. It's really like, it's like 10 minutes or something. And it's one of those things where like, as soon as you start messing with it and then start messing with them, like you're just going to get super addicted to tweaking your model. And oh my gosh, all of a sudden you've gone from not really understanding how to control a model to fully understanding how to control a model.
Yeah. And if you took the time to have GPT give you an image of what it thought you looked like based on all of your interaction with it,
right?
The easiest path for you, if you have not touched these instructions before, is to go into those settings, take a screenshot of those settings, specifically included what traits do you want and a little bit about you, and then say, GPT, help me fill this out, and start there, right? Like that's my favorite way to use Claude and GPT, is to just give a screenshot of any specific form where you might have. It's very easy, especially when talking about yourself, to have blank page block, right? And you're like, where do I start? Don't start from scratch. That's for damn sure. Especially if you've been using GPT, it will know something about you, and then you can like mold that, or copy and paste your LinkedIn, information, right? There's so many ways to just get quickly to where you want to go with the help of AI. So definitely don't start from scratch. And after you show that, I'm gonna show my example, and then we can move to our next topic.
See the monster. It's metastasizing into such cool stuff, and even stuff that like I think HubSpot might come out with. Oh, get out! Get out!
Damn. Let me see the prompt. Okay, so no instructions besides make
No,
a picture.
it even wanted some, and I was like, nah, let's see what you can do just based on what you know.
Man,
Damn,
have
it
you
even
given
kind of
it
got my weight
pictures?
right.
If have you given it pictures of you before?
um, I think so, but like a
Okay.
long time ago. You know what? No, I always did that with Midjourney because Midjourney had image reference. I never did it
Right.
with GPT.
Because there's the
Man,
hat. Uh, obviously the
yeah,
tone is accurate. The glasses, the gray
like
and
it's
beard.
I'd even wear the clothes. Like, I think
Right.
I used to have a salmon colored shirt. I actually do have a blue jean jacket, but it's not this style. But this is actually awesome. Like, I
Yep.
literally am going to go look for this. And I've never worn a fedora, but I have a cowboy hat as well. Like, oh
Oh
man,
man.
oh wow. You know what would be crazy is if somehow there's no way though, right? Like it's not caching that much information because what would be crazy to me, because like even look at the weight, right? In the face
Mhm.
and the neck, like it's super accurate, right? I'll have to go through and see, but God, that I mean, we're talking about years, man, of like
Right.
history with this type of thing. Like since image generation came out, no, I've never like given it an image of myself to try to recreate as something else. I think I don't know. I
Right.
got to think about it. Maybe. Um, but even if not, like that's such a ridiculously accurate,
That's good. Yeah.
right?
It's really good.
That's seriously crazy to me.
Um,
And now I got to go buy these clothes.
all right.
All right.
I'm gonna share my example and then we'll get
Yeah.
into the CRM monster. Um, so last week after the show, Nico finally got me into the custom prompt and instruction designer. Um, because one of the things that as new models come out, it's like taking a look at your instructions can be helpful to make sure it fits the new model and like there won't be so much of a learning curve, et cetera, et cetera. So I came over and started. The goal was to renew a set of Claude instructions, including the global instructions and preferences and individual projects.
Mhm.
And I started with projects. And one thing to note is that these were made by Claude for Claude. And at the beginning of this, so the instructions from the GPT, as I was talking to Nico, like you see these hashes, it's markdown,
Mhm.
right? And a part of the premise of this custom GPT is uh, markdown in more of a uh, is JSON kind of way, or how do you describe this structure?
Tagging.
Tagging,
Yeah.
like
It's like
tag,
HTML or yeah.
right? So in a tagging kind of way, right? So this was the output, right? Gives me that format, and even there, I'm like, these look great, but I have a concern. In the past, I've struggled to avoid my AI friend defaulting to 30, 60, 90-day project timelines. So I'll often add something like the below addendum, um, which I don't think I included in the top um, because it's just a lot, right?
Mhm.
So I use that to add it in. And now, even though it was in the old, um, markdown format,
Yeah.
it puts it in the new markdown format. So I continue to do this throughout with a couple other. Um, I actually at this point I ask, like, I think this feels right. Can you help me understand why these instructions are better than the original set that I gave
Mhm.
you? Right. Yes, the improvement isn't about changing your mission or content. It's about structural and operational precision so Claude can consistently deliver what you want without slipping into old defaults. Structured and machine readable, high priority, critical rules are explicit, mode logic actionable, built-in output consistency. So basically telling me how this custom GPT like works, right? If you want, I can also show you a side-by-side mapping of original versus improved. Like this is me learning like how, one, why instructions are important like throughout this, but also the difference between the two, right? And at this point, I'm also understanding like I'm a little bit off the grid in terms of the goal of this custom GPT in terms of like just creating instructions. So when I ask Claude to create instructions for the new project, why doesn't it create formatting like what you have done here? That happens because Claude isn't automatically primed to use expert level instruction structuring unless you explicitly tell it to. And your original instructions didn't require that meta formatting. Here's what's going on under the hood, right? Shares that. And then I start giving it. So now I'm like comfortable with what it's doing, and I'm gonna give it the rest of give it more instructions. And this time it was personal preferences for Claude. So trying to differentiate. First one was a project. This one's about to be global, so it's going to impact all of Claude. And I went back and forth quite a bit on this one because a lot of the challenge of consistency is how project instructions layer on top of global instructions, right? And it can be very easy to duplicate and contradict, which will guaranteed result in inconsistency, like across chats, right? So a bit of back and forth here. And where I want to get to is so you can see we still got the tagging here in the way that's intended by the custom GPT. So I give it another set of instructions and another set of instructions. But at this point, I'll go back to here, right? This is the last time that it gives it to me in this, how I refer to as like code base format, or right?
In the code block.
Code block, right? Yep. So here I say, yep, here's the next one. So it says, do you want me to set up the next project using the template right now? I'm like, yep. It's so same back and forth here. This time, it doesn't give me the output. It asks, or it tells me what it's going to do. And then gives it to me in chat, like not in the code window, right? But we still have like one tag, but not the bookended like tags, right? So it's kind of getting back to the way Claude has done it for me in the past here. I don't really pay attention at this point because it's. I kind of want to see where we're gonna go, and I'm just in the mode of like, all right, let's just get these done, right? Pretty rote, because I've got a ton of projects, and
okay, go.
And I had some specific ones. So again, similar output here. And this is where I run into it seemed to need clarification that it was not always one chat and would decide which projects to call in to Like it thought every chat was happening outside of a project. So that the global instructions were deciding which set of project instructions to apply to the chat, right? So I said here, and so I gave it a screenshot. I'm not sure you're understanding exactly how cloud projects work. Maybe this screenshot will help. There is no, quote, hand them to Claude in one shot possible. Note, this is not all the projects, just an example group. Here,
not so fast,
right? If you want, I can start making short, clean project instruction versions for the rest of your list, ready to paste into each Claude project so they're aligned without being too long, right? Here, I said, I needed to, like, it wanted to move away from global preferences. So I have to describe the 2 layers here, right? So I gave it a screenshot of the global preferences, which looks significantly different from projects, because it moved away from the original plan, right? It's like, all right, we're on the right track here for whatever reason, which could be from all of what's inside of each instruction set that I'm giving it. At any point, I think any of the variables there could, since they're instructions for a project, maybe could be seen as instructions like inside of this chat, right? So after that clarification, I give it the next one. And now we've gone away from brackets even, right?
Yeah. I absolutely know why there's the breakdown though. Right.
And at this point, I say, it looks like these are starting to be formatted differently than Nico had intended for this custom GPT. And this is just an objective observation, right? I'm not saying they should be like this, or I think it's because of this. I'm just saying it looks like these are different, right? Because I want it to answer like without being led, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I can see what you mean. What I just gave you is more of a Claude project ready OS linked brief. Nico's earlier formatting for your custom GPT leaned heavier into consistent section headers, strict structuring, and predictable hierarchy so the AI can parse and reuse the pieces reliably. If you want this to slot into Nico's GPT design, we'd need to, right? So I think a key variable here is it was thinking that it was building custom GPTs, instructions for custom GPTs. And so I just confirm, so the format you're giving me is actually more appropriate for Claude. This is exactly, and then here's why, right? So then I start reformatting the original ones that it gave me based on the custom GPT output. This is where I could have responded with, why are you doing it differently? I want you to do it this way. Instead of kind of letting go and then entertaining the fact that maybe some things have caused it to choose better outcomes, instead of like, at some point, it's like, oh, okay, these instructions, like based on what I've learned in this chat, like these outputs are now going to be better for the user goals, right? So that's what I think is missing in terms of allowing the smarter being here to create the outcomes it thinks are better based on all of the variables like it has access to in that moment. You said you know exactly why it's breaking down. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I don't consider this a breakdown, just so we're clear.
Oh, I know. So it's wrong. What it did is it assumed, because when you gave it the first set of Claude instructions, you also told it, yeah, see, that's not Claude, right? You're not supposed to use emoji with Claude instructions ever. unless you want Claude to throw emojis at you. So basically what you did is you kind of broke it. But like when you initially gave it the Claude instructions, you basically told it like, this is the way that Claude instructions are written. So it assumed when it came back later down the road and said, yeah, this is how Claude actually writes instructions. It was doing that based on what you gave it. It's not like it went on the web, right? Its response didn't include sources. So it's not like it went on the web and looked up how to do it and then came back and said, no, this is actually how you're supposed to do it, right? This GPT does shit based off like literally research papers that are about prompt engineering. So it doesn't like willy-nilly do shit. And the breakdown was when you're asking it to redo the same thing exactly how you did it before, it's really it seems like it shouldn't be tricky, but it is a little bit tricky in that you do actually have to at least I would say for the first like 2 times you're redoing something, you do have to say, okay, like first of all, you need to thumbs up the good responses so that it understands good versus bad. And then because it's still reinforced learning on human feedback. And secondly, when you ask it to replicate, that's what you need to say. You want to say like, I want to replicate the same process we just used on the previous instructions, only update these instead, right? And if you do it like another time, it should be okay if you just do it twice and then say, all right, from now on, I'm just going to hand you the instructions I want you to reformat, and you just give me the reformatted version. And good. It shouldn't break down until like near the end of the token limit or something. But yeah, it's there is like, you know, how you use the spear per se, like type thing. Like it's a great example of like how you interact with it. And I know what most people think is like, hey, if I just asked a person to give me the same thing again, they would have understood to give me the same thing again. I had this conversation with my brother recently because I showed him the figure video of the Helix update where it's like folding towels on a table, and it's doing a pretty good job, except that, you know, it doesn't fold them precisely and like exactly when it goes to stack them up and put them away. And yeah, see, so that's another thing. So you're saying, what's the difference between global and project instructions, right? So had you said system instructions? That's a universal thing. That's a universal term that's used for these are the instructions that guide this agent, GPT, project, whatever it is, right? There's basically, to me, there's only like 2 worlds: system instructions and user prompt. That's it, right? User prompt is this, system instructions is what's on the back end of this, right? So if you're asking for that, I would very much, I would use that terminology, just say like, give me the system instructions for this thing. And definitely I'm fairly sure there's a difference in the structure of it for the different models, but honestly, like the tag method I've been using is like, I don't know, it definitely doesn't, it seems to basically make all the models behave exactly the same. It's the best way I could explain it.
Which is a goal that some might have.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so in other words, like I do that for like the Oracle, right? Because I want those 2 things to be the same on different platforms, right? But I don't do that for like the writing stuff I have. Like each one is its own thing. Like there are, to your point, like there's really only very few instances where like I want all the models to sound the same.
Yep. And just before we jump to Sierra Monster, just highlight here. First developing what they are for each system, and there's like medium plus 15. There's like 16 articles here. And then the Reddit +1 for ChatGPT.
Right. That's all you need
to know. Yeah, critical thinking important when you're asking for help from the system. But I think that's where the different instructional layers come into play for Claude.
But you see the two
GPT.
things that are the same that matter. Claude's emphasis on structured referenced content. Okay, look at the GPT one. General behavior, structured developer level instructions, right? Both of them, and that's why I say all models behave the same way to this style, is because it does just that. It structures your instructions no matter where you're going to use them. So every model prefers to have structured instructions. So that's why when it started like taking it out of structure, I was like, nope, it's wrong. It's not supposed to do that. That's not going to work better for you.
Okay. All right.
Think about it this way, like structured instructions is the same way as like steps, right? Because like it keeps those things different. Otherwise, it reads the whole thing as one whole set. Like, oh, all of this is the same thing, right? Otherwise, it says, oh, this is specifically how I'm supposed to handle myself. This is the process that I use in order to interact with what the user gives me. And then the examples at the end are like, that's the most, to me, important part of it is especially, and we've talked about this before, about not only telling the model what you want, but telling the model what you don't want, right? That to me is like super important in terms of like making sure that you're going to get what it is you're after. You also need to define like, hey, but this is the limitation too. Like if you're thinking about doing this, don't do that, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm definitely not suggesting that unstructured instructions are a good idea. I'll dig in a little bit because I'm curious. I think it's just a matter of the tagging system that's causing me a little bit of heartburn. So when I ask Claude, because I always ask Claude to create the instructions, and I've seen it change over time, like from 3 to 4. Why wouldn't it just give me instructions that are tagged the way that your GPT works, your custom GPT works?
I couldn't honestly tell you. The only thing I can assume is because especially it's on search, right? So it's going on like, I guess what I would call like internet facing data. And the GPT I put together was based on academic research from Perplexity. So the sources are vastly different.
Yeah.
So if GPT were able to do an academic like research source version of it, yes. But here's a question. So just ask that GPT.
Your custom GPT?
No, that one. Ask it whether or not the role, objective, process, and constraints method, or I guess ROPC, whatever, whether or not it's a, gosh, how do we want to ask this without leading, right?
Right.
Have a greater effect. Yeah. Does it have a greater effect on system prompts? I would think. Or does it matter? Is that a good way of asking it? I suppose. Yeah, the roads method is actually the method my vibe coder uses. Yeah, so adding a persona doesn't automatically improve accuracy. That's the only aspect of it, right? Outside of that, it's not going to tell you that a structured method is worse than an unstructured method. Think about AI data. What's RAG? Right? RAG is a structured method of data, right? Like these, think about how and how is RAG structured with JSON, right? So it even uses like a coded tagged method of structuring the data that goes beyond just like having it in like a text file or like a PDF. Honestly, is like the worst source you can give for any model because you are legitimately asking it like, hey, interpret this whole thing and figure out what the importance is, where the importance is. If a user gives you a thing, like especially in your instructions, if you don't add in like, hey, you need keywords to go, like these keywords equal these files that you should look into, boy, it's gonna be a rough one. And yeah, it just, again, like instructions, man, it's just
Yeah.
so, it is. That's why I called this a 101 thing, because it is so very basic, but also so very powerful,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the key is appreciating the power of the instructions themselves and then figure it out. Like, do what you need to do to understand all the pieces, like, interact with your AI to like go back and forth. Like, it can help you make sense of it. And then, like, just this moment of every time it does something you don't expect, it is so unbelievably easy to just be like, I noticed you did that. I wasn't expecting that. Can you help me understand why you did that?
Hmm.
And then it will tell you how to prevent that from happening again, like if you wanted to. And then you're just like, oh, copy paste into instructions. Like it's
Yeah.
just so easy. All the energy that you're spending on complaining that it's not working for you, if you put it towards this learning curve, because there's got to be a meta learning curve there too, where when you take the time to stop and say, hey, it is learning from you at the same time when you do that. If you never do that, it will get very quickly into like a, oh, this is good or it's not good. And there's no in between with this user. So I'm not even gonna like argue anymore. Like
Right.
just be like, nope, you're right. It should have been this. You got me. Like everybody
Sorry.
loves showing those examples, right? Like, see, it
Hmm.
was wrong. And
Yeah.
what is it even? How can this even be possible? Like,
And
because you're
like,
forcing it to think in that way in binary terms. Like,
and honestly, guys, like, here's the thing. I think the easiest way, the reason that I hate all those stories so very much is because none of them, just think about it. Think about what we talk about. The fact that we can go for a half hour every morning. I mean, we could go for hours every single day, but just how much there is that's involved in it in working with this stuff, right? Every story you read, I have yet, unless you're reading an article from the Frontier Lab or a research article, then I know it's wrong out the gate. Why? Every article you read will never, ever mention the detail of which model. It'll always say, oh, ChatGPT gives blah, blah, blah. It'll never say ChatGPT deep thinking mode. It'll never say ChatGPT O4 high mini. It'll never say any of that shit. It's never going to say, oh, yeah, well, we tested, Claude Opus 4.1. It's never going to tell you which one because some of them are really damn good, right? Some of them, when you give them those hard questions, are really good at answering them and they do it very quickly. Even if you ask a thinking model a stupid, like easy question, and I mean stupid easy, I don't mean like a stupid question. I mean, like if you ask it again, sky is blue type thing, it's going to answer quickly. It's not going to take a lot of time to think about that, right? What I see a lot of is like, oh, the free version. So the free version wasn't able to do this. And it's like, oh, cool. So you ask the high school kid to do something like a PhD student should know, and then you got upset that the high school kid didn't know how to do it, right? And for all of you out there that like say, and I get it, like, oh, these things are supposed to be perfect or something, like beware that statement and sentiment. But even still, how many of you haven't seen the YouTube videos of like Americans getting asked questions that are just the easiest questions, like where is this city and what is this state and where is this country, and just the worst answers. The worst. You would think that like the majority of the country had never been to school at all or just never bothered with education, right? So honestly, don't put yourselves too high up on that pedestal, right? Because it's definitely a lot better than most of us, like the great majority of us, planetary wide, right? I think GPT-5 thinking it's super impressive to me, which is saying something.
Should we share it, screen?
Yeah. So the other day I was, and I've done this before with Claude and with Gemini, but I've been hearing people talk about like, oh yeah, but GPT-5 now with vibe coding, and I was like, not really. Like I've used GPT for vibe coding before, not the greatest thing, but admittedly, I didn't think about like, oh, okay, let's shove it on the highest mode possible and see what comes of it. And I did see somebody on Twitter say that, like, yeah, I did something on GPT-5 thinking and it just one-shot it, like, no problem. So one of the things that I hate is having to deal with like Miro or like any of those types of softwares, right? Because I just want something where I can just go paste in my stuff, like tweak it if I need to, or see if like there's a better version of what it is that I pasted in there or something like that. Really quickly. I don't want to have to go like log in and this, that, and the other thing. So basically I want to build like a mermaid flowchart app, right? And so I asked Thinking Mode to do it. It initially came out with something around like 380 lines. Not that that matters, but it worked the first go around, which I was very shocked by. It's the first time ever that like it one shot an application request. But there was some functionality that was missing, and that's the only thing that I needed it to add. So it added that, and I have to say that I'm seriously shocked at the result. Also because seemingly, it's I didn't know, and I don't think they even mentioned it, but I'm pretty sure it has also plugged in an AI model on the back end. I think. I'm not entirely sure. But basically, again, I was really surprised because I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be able to be like that good of an application. But yeah, I mean, this is the app. Oh, it does have a bug. I guess maybe pushing the whole thing full screen, but you can basically paste in your mermaid script here. The idea is essentially that you can analyze and optimize the script using AI. So it'll basically look at your mermaid and tell you like, hey, is that the best way to go, or should you have a more optimized version of that? Gives you the analysis and recommendations and different version control, which you can just roll back to one or whatever, right? Apply suggestions like, and I was like, yeah, I just need it to be able to like, so I could zoom in and look around at stuff. I don't need anything like super fancy. Yeah, now it works. Awesome. So yeah, I mean, and one shot, right? So like, not that that's amazing to me. This is like, oh, you cool, you caught up to Claude and Gemini, which realistically, if I had to say who crossed the line first, I would say it was Claude. And then Gemini got there, but Gemini is definitely, I would honestly say it's it's the strongest of all of them when it comes to vibe coding. Just because of the fact that the context window is so massive. So like maybe now with Claude it'll be better. I'll find out soon. We'll see.
I just gave you a mermaid, a set of mermaid stuff to input in Slack.
If I could ever find it. There we go. Now I hope that it actually like works. Yeah, so I wish that it actually did have this connected. I kind of figured it was going to do that as a demo thing.
Right.
But
that's
still,
yeah.
The functionality of like just being able to like very quickly like pump out whatever it is, because like so like why did I really want this? Because especially with like vibe coding, you can't necessarily see like where everything is, how it's all tied in, like whether or not it's tied in the right way that you want it to be. And it's very easy using Mermaid to basically re-instruct your vibe coder on like, hey, no, the flow should actually be like this. This needs to connect that way, blah, blah, blah. Or it would be even nicer if you could have, my intention is to have a GPT that basically has a software engineering degree, I suppose you could call it, and would be your program assistant that would look at your Mermaid script and determine whether or not there was a better flow that you should be using as opposed to what you are using, which you could then download and bring over to your vibe coder and be like, hey, can you update the application so that it flows like this instead of like that? And it would just be this very easy soup to nuts, like, hey, here's what you need to do, as well as being able to give you some analysis on it.
Very nice.
So yeah.
Right. CRM monster time.
So CRM monster. 2 weeks ago we looked at this and it was it was cute, and I was just showing you guys like what the potential capability was going to be like one day. And so today's not the entire day, not the whole thing, but it is it's awesome. So before we just kind of like had stuff, and I think the only real thing that was built out was like batch create properties. Still there, and template is great. All the templates basically include the instructions. I have a different app actually for doing it. Do I have? Yep. Okay. Just 2 seconds. Do you have Drive laying around? So yeah, the nice part about it is how very easy it is to just like slide new stuff into this. It's very much as easy as asking, like, because I'm developing locally, and actually I think this is the monster project anyway. Sorry, because I am working on a couple different things. Not all of them are public yet. So yeah, it's basically tells you the instructions on how to do it. Obviously, you can't see what this looks like just yet in a paste over. What it would look like when you actually open up the CSV is what I'm trying to do right now. Okay. So this is what you essentially would get in the CSV, that instructs you on like, here's what you need to do, and like how everything needs to be set up in order to use it. And you can do batch update, batch archive, stuff that you could otherwise normally do. You can do merges. You can do lifecycle stage corrections if you needed to. And the nice part about that is you could also do it to live data if you wanted. Did I fix this, please? Let's see. Search area. Let's say title.
So basically an interface for bulk updating, management, etc., from a
Yeah.
RevOps perspective of the entire HubSpot platform.
Yeah. And then also being able to do the dreaded file uploads that like everybody hates having to do. You can do drag and drop now. Must be a singular folder, but you can do multiple records if you need to, as well as an optional note for the upload. What I am most proud of, I think, so far is the form property manager. What's awesome about it is that it basically pulls all your forms in, and after which, let's go ahead and session registration one. Perfect. Okay, so one of the things that's like the biggest pain in the ass when it comes to forms is like editing the actual properties without, if you've had to do a lot of form editing, it seriously sucks to click around so much. It's the biggest pain in the ass. So I decided not to do that anymore. Two different things that I think most people find fairly useful. One, knowing which properties and which fields are on all of your forms. So that's one of the capabilities of this, is that you could do it to one or all and view details, and it'll show you all the properties that are used on which form it is. And then you can, of course, select that and download the CSV. So you can do like an instantaneous audit on form properties, which is something that you can usually only do through the API. So you can also go to manage the fields, and now I can manage the fields without having to go into the CRM and do that. We'll just make that hard.
You mentioned API. Is when we say manage whole platform, is it basically whatever APIs exist?
Yep.
Okay.
Plus more. Like, so like very soon it'll do, no, that's not. Of course on a live demo, man. It's like,
that's how live demos work. All good.
I don't know. That's so that is the most frustrating thing to me, because I've been playing with it all week. Does the replace field work? Yeah. So this is another thing, right? Like, because people were just like, oh, I don't want to have to like go in to like actually replace like fields on stuff. I want to be able to just whatever do it from like an app and not have to go in and make the change happen. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, might as well just be able to replace any fields on whatever form you've selected, and it just goes to whatever that object is. So you'd be able to switch that out. Now I think so. It's weird if this works, but the other didn't. Man, that pissed me off. Okay. So at least you guys can see that it does actually, like, it really does work. I don't know why.
It's so quick too.
It's it's the shit.
It's the part we should not take for granted here, as Nico is clicking in and just it's getting.
And again, like,
because it's the kind of stuff that like through Claude MCP, some of this is possible, but none of it is instantaneous, like in the way that we're seeing. Like, it's literally like asking a human being to go do all the API calls through some other mechanism and then like email you back the outcomes.
Yeah.
Like, it takes Claude a minute. And
seriously,
use a bunch of tokens at the same time, by the way.
Seriously. And so, like, instead of actually like using Claude to do this, right? You could say it's like, I used Claude to build this to do that for me. And what's the huge advantage, right? Like, oh, you're just doing, one at a time or something. Like, no. If you don't see, you're able to replace the field in all the forms in which it exists if you want to. So it's not just like a one and done thing. I do need to fix this view here, clearly.
So this is like if you were replacing.
Yes, because there was, so like this CRM monster, and like I would say that it's like a unique product necessarily. It kind of is, but it's the API, right? It's the API in application form. And that was the whole crux of it. That was the purpose, was like wanting to give everybody the same capability to be able to do that. So like in the API, you can replace form fields on as many forms as you want to, using a format and making a call with a particular payload. Everybody should be able to do that. It's really dumb for that to get locked behind this gate of, well, either you know how to work with the API or you don't. And it's like, but no, how about you just build an application that allows you to go in and just do that? Really? I'd like make me look bad in front of the Wizards. Oh, because it's already on a couple of them, I think. I don't know. Might have to be the same field type or something. I don't know. I'll figure out why it's not doing it. That won't be nearly as difficult to fix as a lot of other things. And it might just be that I haven't.
Well, the pluses and minuses of using a demo portal that a bunch of other people
Yeah, exactly.
are using too.
I'll take a look at it, but either way, that's the intention of it, is to be able to do just that, to be able to like go in and change form field stuff without actually having to. Yeah, I think, yeah. So I just need to get it to do the same multiple call.
So this seems huge for the use cases where like new functionality exists, like sync properties or smart properties, or things where you can't just rename the property itself and have it like the form at that point. That's probably the only way you could bulk edit like a property across forms, is if you just change the name of it, right? But if you need it to be a different functional field now, if you need to go from single line text to drop down, or to sync property or calculated property or any of those things, you would have to go through on each form individually and apply that change. So this is pretty powerful from that perspective.
Hey, isn't there a data health tool in Offsub Pro?
Yep, they're getting there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was gonna have you click on portal auditing and health. Looks like that's where we're at already. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have like super real. Oh, there we go.
Like if you're paying or you feel like you need to pay for some kind of audit, or hey, come help me understand my portal, come help me clean up data, come help me get more out of HubSpot. If you're paying and the output is some like objective analysis of your portal, where it's like, here's the number of records, here's the number of properties that aren't being used, and there's no like additional expertise like consulting on top of that, you're wasting money. Like you're just burning it. Like it has never been easier to do that, to the point where I'm figuring out how I'm going to fit in each day, like just shows where I can show Breeze itself, like Copilot, just asking it questions about your portal. Like it's so easy to understand your own portal before. And at the very least, it'll help you ask better questions when you go ask somebody for help. I'm not saying it's going to help you get more out of HubSpot, because it won't, right? It'll just be able to objectively tell you about your HubSpot in a way that you don't have to, for sure it's objective, like based on your HubSpot and you're the one interacting with it. You don't have to worry about consultants that might try to shade it to get you to spend more money in a certain kind of project that they're good at doing. Right? Maybe they only know about Marketing and Sales Hub and they don't care about Service Hub, Ops Hub, Commerce Hub. So they totally miss all those opportunities. Right? like the ability to get this first pass done yourself, like, please. And this is coming from a place where I like, yeah, I'm not even gonna go there, but it's just learn, like, it's never been easier, and you might have to go back and forth a little bit, but
very little. And it's like, so here's how, if you want to see like how this stuff goes, right? Like I have a brain date. I think there's only one spot left. I think there might be 2 spots left for inbound. If you guys are going to inbound, there's a brain date that I set up on Friday for vibe coding specifically. And so this is how it goes down, right? So we found that issue where, okay, I can't change form fields on multiple forms. There's an issue that pops up, right? So again, like when people say like, oh, vibe coding and you don't care about like actual coding or anything like that. No, like you learn so much more by doing this because of the fact that like you're doing it in a fun way. So what I learned is that you can open the inspection panel and you open up your console, right? And so we'll reset the whole thing so that we get a clean console. And I'll go into the form property manager and I'll select my 3 forms, right? And you see that nothing's happened here yet. And then we'll go over to selected and I'll try to replace the field. And now I get these errors, right? So now I'm just going to come over here, going to copy this, and I'm going to come over to my vibe coder. And I'm just going to say, oops, start a new conversation. And I'm just going to say, hey man, ran into an issue when it comes to the form property manager and need to update that because basically the aspect of it where you're allowed to replace a field doesn't work when you're trying to replace more than one form basically, or more than one form of fields. So if you could take a look at it, this is the error that I got in the console. Not sure if it's going to help you or not. Oop, no problem. And what I did was basically put it in a code block so that it understands better, I think. So next up, so if you can share the relevant part of the handle replace field and the payload you're sending. Folders somewhere in client, I think. And let's switch the model. I really do like GPT-5.
Which application are we in right now?
This is Visual Studio.
Okay.
Which is an IDE. It's a development. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, because the question must have gone. I don't know why it would go over his head, but functions.
So is it Visual Studio with a vibe coder plugged in?
So no, I guess, yeah, not natively. So I shouldn't, it is, though it's Visual Studio, I actually use like, I don't know, several different ones, to be honest with you. They all have strengths and weaknesses to them. Manager. Okay. Yeah, it's weird because it's it is what it is. Like honestly, anytime you try doing live demos, it's always such a huge pain in the ass. And I wish I could say why, but for me, it's just like, oh, hey, I was just hoping I could make you look stupid real fast. Like, cool,
so
man.
Doesn't like the vibe of live.
No, not at all. Let's see. I have to find where this project is in. 2 seconds, maybe. Yep, got it. Okay, let's try this guy instead. So this is cursor. And again, I couldn't necessarily tell you why the huge difference, but there is slightly a difference. What I really love about cursor that I don't necessarily see Visual Studio do is that it creates plans, basically. The other thing I love about it is that you can use GPT high fast, which is super amazing. And it is like a very high cost model, but it makes I'm not gonna lie, it makes Claude it's probably right up there with like Opus 4.1 thinking, I would say. And you could see the difference, right? Like it then doesn't have trouble going through the repo. It knows what it's doing. Okay, so it understands. So like this is how what vibe coding looks like now that it's actually behaving properly. Where I would then give it this issue and say copy, ran into this error. And then I just go do something else, right? Like it's gonna go take a look at it. It's gonna go open whatever files it needs to open in order to do what it has to do. And then it's gonna come back and let me know. Let's see. So the fact that it's returning a 500 actually helps me because on the back end of my app, I'll see the error and then I'll know what happened. Clients not allow listed to perform an operation to version 4 forms. Really? What is that? There's no way I don't have forms on this thing, dude. I have like every single performance read? Okay. Maybe that's it. Didn't know you needed those. I think that's the first time I've seen those too. I've got schema. I have like everything. How many appointments, commerce, courses, invoices, listings, subscriptions, GraphQL? I don't think so. I've never had to use it. Okay. That's weird because there shouldn't be an issue in that regard. So yeah, but this is what it looks like in terms of like, oh, so what do you do when it comes to fixing problems? Like I give it the problem to understand, right? And then honestly, there's plenty of times where I'll have like this on one screen, I've got Visual Studio on the other, both of them are cranking out. Maybe I've got Replit doing something else on its own, and then I'm working in Gemini doing something else, using GPT to actually work on like whatever, or like a book or something like that, all while all of this stuff is happening. And what's great is that you can like turn on audio notifications. So you just get these little pings every once in a while that are all different sounds of like, oh, this guy's done. So yeah, you end up with, hey, okay, here's how we need to fix this. Then you can either apply it, read through it. What I honestly like to do is go to GPT and make use of agentic mode, because with that, you can look at your specific repo. It's this guy, right? Yeah. Oh, you can do both. Man, that's sick. So you can actually put your specific repo in there, and then what I can do is come back and ask it like, hey, is this plan like viable for the application? Is it going to break anything? Right. So I can get that like second opinion. I can do the same thing. I can open the same project in Visual Studio, ask GitHub Copilot and be like, hey, based on this plan that I want to do, is it going to actually upset anything? I can go to Claude and I can have Claude look at the repo and connect him to it through various connectors, right? And have Claude look at it and be like, hey, what do you think? What would I need to do in order to fix this problem that I'm having, right? So even without having to go into an IDE software, you could still do it just from here. Just go to your actual application. I don't suggest putting everything in there. I think. Oh, I didn't realize it was that massive at this point. I kind of don't care about flooding this project, by the way. I realize the rules that you have on your end, good sir. I don't care about rules. So I can say the same thing here. Right. And then like, so again, you don't even need like an IDE necessarily to help you solve like coding issues when it comes to vibe coding. You can do it just through whatever application you normally use, right? Or whatever generative AI application you normally use. Even when it comes to Gemini, you can add import code from a GitHub repo, right? Or you can upload a folder to it. Honestly, it does not matter. So you can, it's got its little assessment. So now I can come back and say, hey, I've got this error. Really, I honestly really do love Cursor. Very nice. So what's hilarious is Cursor was like, yeah, I got to go take a look at the back end to go figure it out. And Claude's just like, nah, it's the back end. It's fucked up. Like right out the gate. Like, I see what's going on here. So in terms of like who's, better at I don't know, diagnosis or debugging or something like that. But yeah, now I can go back and forth and see like, okay, it's saying that I'm missing these endpoints, form field IDs, right? So like now I'm able to go back and forth and say like, oh, this is actually the legitimate plan that's going to work and it's not going to upset my code and this, that, and the other thing. Or if I really want to shorthand it, I can just copy this, paste it over to the other one and be like, hey, is this plan going to work, right? So just, or do it the other way, like other dev said this might work. What's the difference? And which is more elegant? Well, creates a new endpoint that didn't exist before, fixes the existing endpoint that's already being called. So Claude was basically going to try to create this. This is what a lot of developers complain about. That like, oh, it was going to leave the old thing in place and put a new thing there anyway, probably comment out the old thing and then just reference the new thing. So it's going to bloat up your file, right? Whereas, GPT's solution was like, no, I'm just going to fix what's already there. Like, why do anything new, right? So there you go. Your dev solution's better. But again, like when it comes to issues and it's like whether or not you can, because I used to be on the same fence. Like, yeah, okay, it spit out this answer, but Replit was actually doing it to me the most, where it would say, yeah, I solved the problem, and the problem wasn't solved. And it's like, what the hell, man? Like, you're spending like whatever $1, $2 here, like 3, 4, 5 times to solve the same thing, and it's not getting done. That's where you start to branch out and you start to learn like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to ask Replit to make, a downloadable version of this that I can run locally. And then I'm going to put it on my local and then I'm going to fix it from there. Right. And then I'll push the changes up to the repo and then I can pull the changes in Replit and then I can keep going in Replit. Right. Like just learning how your team works together. Right. It's not a tech stack anymore. It really is like teammates. It really is working with different people in order to accomplish a goal. It's not about like, I need to figure out like what's the best overall tool to use. You just saw me use 2 different tools to accomplish the same goal because I needed them both. I need one to check the other one, right?
Orchestration. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you work with a team of people to solve solutions at work, right? So what's the difference? Right? If you're sitting there, like, what's the irony, right? of thinking that you should only have one team member that you need in order to solve all the problems. It's like me saying I only need one RevOps person in order to do all of RevOps, right? Let me just get a RevOps agent, and then why do I need more people, right? And it's like, I don't want to do that because now I've limited all of my critical thinking to one source, right? Instead of having multiple sources that could give me multiple modes of critical thinking, at the same time or whatever. So,
you want to hit on that last topic that was on your mind today? Connectors changing everything.
Yeah. It's definitely, so like the way in which tech stack, right? We talk about it obviously every week because it's the whole point of the show. And yeah, connectors are something that, like, to me, it's just, I don't know necessarily what happens to like what I call now the big box software company. It also doesn't matter to me what happens to you guys. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I realize that, front end software is going away. Look, I work in generative AI apps all day, like pretty much. If I touch HubSpot, it's literally to confirm something I'm doing outside of HubSpot. I'm not like actually using it. You just saw, like, I've literally built an application so that I don't have to go work in HubSpot, right? Like that's the goal of the CRM monster, is not just for HubSpot, it's for like whatever. The goal is to just not have to use that. And so what happens to CRM monster? Well, eventually that's going to become an MCP, right? Because I don't even want to have to go to CRM monster. I want to just be able to come over to GPT and add it as just another connector that I use, and then just go from there, right? Like, why? I've seen like how awesome it is having it within Visual Studio and having it within Cursor, where you have all of these tools that you can connect to, and it greatly accelerates your capabilities of being able to do everything that you were already doing, let's say with GPT, right? Like, I wouldn't say that I don't go check my email or anything, right? But whenever I do planning, I definitely don't plan in some other planning software. I plan in GPT, or I'll plan in I don't know, I'll plan yeah, tasks, man. I don't know why they got rid of them, right? It really sucks, and they don't actually work anymore. I don't know what's up with that. Honestly, guys, if you could bring back tasks, I don't know why you got rid of it. I guess people were using it poorly and abusing it. Put it on plus plans or something like that, right? Like, I don't know, but I miss them a lot. They were very, very useful. Gave me some amazing information every day. So anyhow, that kind of thing too, right? So like Comet replaces that for me now, which is fine. I don't like having to use another teammate to have to get that information. And eventually I won't. Eventually it'll get to be the case that, like, I'll just have a Jarvis that I ask to do all of this stuff. Like, so think about it in this case. I don't use all of these software platforms that are actual applications, HubSpot, Google Docs, PandaDoc, Acrobat, like all of that stuff, like all of the brand name, which, I mean, GPT is too, but anything that's like non-generative at its core. I'm already one step back from those. So in other words, like, I already work in third-party apps now more than I do in those first party, right? It's never going to go backwards. I don't want it to go backwards. I really don't want it to go backwards. I'm sure that eventually HubSpot will have like an agent platform or something, right? And then that'll be the thing that I would have to go in there to actually do, right? But I also see it being the case that, very much like OpenAI, I'm just going to be able to build my agent and bring it in and plug it in, right? So again, like, as long as there's as long as there's always that framework of you can use ours or bring your own, that's always going to and it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that like HubSpot's going away and that effort is bad or something, because there's always that level. There's a balance, right? And the number of like power users are thin. Just look at the scale of, and I'm not, again, like not trying to get political. It's just a very easy curve to visualize. Look at the current like inequity of the U.S., right? And then just like shift that around to be like number of users who, you know, are from like novice to expert with regards to like generative AI and like GPT and Claude and all that kind of stuff. The number of people who are like really, really good power users is like that top 10% of like users. The number of users that like I'm talking about that, you know, need to understand custom instructions and stuff like that, that is that middle group, which is like, it's like 70% of you, right? Like it's such a huge pool. So don't assume that like that you should be like expert level at this point. Like that's obviously not the case. Again, Studio Ghibli generation, gonna be a minute. But it's definitely going to get there. Guys definitely need to push it there. And again, the reason is because you're not going to be interfacing with the app as much as you want. Again, the larger 70%, you're probably still going to interface with the app until that becomes like 50%, maybe a little bit less. And then eventually, like one day, it's going to be weird to interface directly with the app. We've talked to the Oracle about this, right? We've even talked to like a regular GPT about it. We didn't even have to talk to the Oracle. At one point before we did the Oracle, we were just talking to a regular GPT, and we were like, hey, what do you think about people like actually using software interfaces, you know, like going like 2 years into the future? And it was like, I mean, I guess if you wanted to do it for nostalgia, right? Like it was just like, that's a really weird thing, because you're just going to be able to tell me to do that stuff and I'll just go do it. So I'm not sure why you would want to go do it, right? Like we've already, like, we're creating these things with the mindset of like, hey, I don't want to have to do that. Right? Like that's the whole reason why we're building them, is because we don't want to have to do the stuff that we're asking them to do. So if what they do is interface with applications, and what we don't want to do is have to interface with those applications, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? And you can see, if you don't believe me, look at where it matters most. Look at the banking industry, look at the financial industry, okay? Because they're rolling this shit out so hard it's not even funny. And who is in bed with them but the shopping industry, right? Retail. And if you look at retail, they are all making the move to agentic purchasing applications. It's like a wave now, like just a tsunami of retailers adding in some type of agent shopper into their platform, into their app, into their websites, in any way that they possibly can, because they know that it's easier and faster for you to sit there and Alexa the thing that you need than it is to go to their clumsy ass website that has shit all over the place that you don't want to see, but you're going to go take a look at because it's 70% off. And then you're going to waste your time, and you're going to forget what the hell you were doing. And then you're going to get frustrated again, having to go back to find the thing you needed. And all of a sudden, 15 minutes of your life is gone. Right? And I think about In Time. Think about that movie, right? And like what 15 minutes means. It means a lot to me. Like it means a lot. If you ask my wife, like I've already told her, I'm like, I wish to me, it like right now I live in Iron Man 3, right? I really wish I had another version of myself that could just do all the shit for me, because there are so many things that I want to do and I just can't do them all at the same time yet, right? But it's getting close. At the same time, I was recently in Blairsville, Georgia, which is like the ass end of the Appalachian Mountains, and I felt like Tony when, you know, he got out of the suit in wherever the hell he was, right? Like just I felt like powerless, basically, like really like powerless. And like people would talk about certain subjects and I'd be like, oh I wish I could pull out my phone and do this cool thing to show you something about that, but I can't. So damn. And it was, I don't know, it was a really odd sort of experience. But so I realized like not necessarily how dependent I am upon it, but like how powerful a thing it really is. And even though I was, it's not like it came at a detriment or something like that to being able to spend time there. It's just changing. It's just changing. I was about to take out something the size of my hand and do the coolest shit with it in front of somebody that had never seen anything like that. And they would have thought that I basically started doing magic on my phone. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go to a massive ass application to do it. I just have to tap open an app, tap open and tap on my voice command, ask for what I want. And it's just like Star Trek, man. Like,
yep. And that's where I think there's so many people underestimating, like in the CRM world, 50% of the users have still not adopted CRM.
Right.
Like we're not considering them going from whatever they do now and applying this. It's going to be like, oh, my notes app that's like standard on the iPhone or Google, that connects to this thing. So I can actually like the thing I'm doing. I think Alexa will be a very common use case at some point because we're already used to. That's the thing. We're already used to using it in this way, where it's like I just say out loud what I want to happen, and then it happens. So the learning curve is not.
It's no longer there.
Easier to use your software. It is, and the way that HubSpot product managers talk about this is HubSpot everywhere. Yep. They figured this out. They've lost the battle of trying to get you to log into your HubSpot. So how can they be where you already are at the deepest of levels, right? And they're accomplishing that in a number of ways. And that's where this is what impacts jobs dramatically. If you're an admin and you're in break fix mode and people aren't using HubSpot, what are you doing? Right? Like versus turning into the coach, telling people how to talk to the things that are going to be updating HubSpot and helping them leverage that is a huge need. This is the orchestration, the enablement changes from making sure the shit works, from helping people learn how to work with these things that they've already been using and already been comfortable with in a way that will enable the rest of the system and the people around them, and getting to trust. It's going to be huge.
If I had to go back, and there would be, look, I'm not, it is what it is. I'll tell you that much. This is just evidence, and I don't care. I have just stopped caring. Mainly because I know what the answer is, so I don't really care that it's not quite there yet. It will be. So I've stopped caring now because it's not worth my time. Pretty much like nearly every academy certification, right? Like, again, I'm not trying to, my goal is not to diss the academy, and it's not to talk down about the academy or efforts that are put into it or anything. I'm leading an academy boot camp or not academy boot camp, but whatever. I'm leading a boot camp this winter. Again, I'm not against people learning by any capacity. All I am saying is, if it were me, and I think this is going to be the case going into the future, right? It reminds me of, like, not Clippy, but remember the little animated guy in Jurassic Park when they started going through the ride type thing in the beginning? Yeah, it reminds me of that, right? Where if I had to learn HubSpot today the way I did 4 years ago, I'd be there in 2 months. It would not have taken me anywhere near as long as it did before, because I have Copilot now. And even if I didn't, I would have built something like HubSpot Harry. And that's it. Everything I need to know, I know now. Like, I don't have to know it. I just need to know how to apply it. That's what's important. Being able to actually produce the value, not knowing how to get the value, right? Like, that's what this thing is going to help you with. Learning how to actually apply what you now know to produce what you are supposed to get from it. That is what is important now, right? Because that's what it can't do. So, like, yeah, it can give you the ideas and it can give you all the stuff, but you still have to execute on it, and you still have to execute on it in the right way, right? That's why we talk about like value first, because the knowing part doesn't matter anymore. That's not valuable anymore. It just isn't. You just have to let it go, and it's totally fine, right? Colleges are like freaking out. They can't figure it out. They don't know what's going on. I am loving the fact that at least 2 colleges are bringing back philosophy courses. Best thing that's ever happened. Because it's like, oh my God, free thinking and critical thinking again. Holy. So like that's what it's going to become. It's going to become more about liberal arts and more about thinking out. That whole thing of like, can you think outside the box? Super important now. That is likely one of the most important skills that you can have going into the future, is being able to think abstractly.
Yeah.
And think outside of the norm. Because
You don't
now
belong
whatever you were
inside the box anymore. Like,
no.
AI's
And
got it.
the endless
Got it covered.
possibilities thing is actually true now. Right? So
Mhm.
like, here's the thing. If I were in graphic design again, right, especially in fashion, I would absolutely change my job and I would get into AI fashion design. And where people don't think that's a thing, it is. Now, I don't know how to do fashion art, how to draw it, right? There are amazing fashion artists out there, massive respect for them, right? But I do know how certain things look. I do know how certain things flow. I do have an eye for like how certain things, should drape and all that kind of thing. So I do know how to describe what I would want to see, which means that I could use generative AI to do tons of 4-ups, 8-ups, however many turnstiles, everything I needed, and make it look exactly like a fashion artist would in whatever style I define it to be, right? And I can just iterate all day long. And just like I do with Suno, until I find exactly the right sound and exactly the right track that I want to go with, because there is artistry to it. It's not just like, no, here, hit the button and walk away. Yeah, I guess if you want to walk away with some like really cheap, easy to replicate stuff, because that's what it'll be. It'll be super cheap and easy to replicate because garbage in, garbage out. But if you actually sit there and take your time and work with it, right? But like being able to iterate graphic design and do thumbnails, like there's no tomorrow, just hundreds of them if you wanted to, right? Like it just changes the game entirely, because all of the whatever visual ideas you had of going directions you had, whatever musical ideas or directions you had to go in, whatever financial ideas you had of doing, right? Look at what I was just doing with coding. There's a solution. Okay, does that solution work? Let's go find out. Let's go ask somebody else, right? Even if you're trying to iterate on solutions, there's still an ingenuity that goes on there. It's something, honestly, like I'm telling Laura, like I do hate, in a sense, that every conversation I get into nowadays does end up revolving around and coming back to AI. But it's just because it really is going to be embedded in everything that you do that isn't, pretty soon it's even going to be in your body. I guarantee it sooner than
I don't know that you hate it that much.
I don't.
Honestly.
It's
like, sorry, this is always the answer right now.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But this is the reality. That's the point of,
Yeah.
we've moved from industrial age to the age of AI. And the longer that's the simplest mindset shift we need you to make. The longer that takes, the longer you're going to question things and not understand why things are different, why people are behaving differently, all up and down the spectrum. And especially as we get into Oh man, if you're in HubSpot land and you thought credits were annoying prior to inbound, like just wait, right? Like the agents that have been in beta, and there's been no announcements that I know of. I'm not privy to any internal information. You just read the tea leaves here.
Yeah.
Customer agent, the only agent that's come out of beta. When it came out of beta, it was separated from Service Hub and is paid for by credits, right? And then that was the first time all license levels or all pro and enterprise customers got a batch of credits, whether they asked for them or not. Previously, it was associated with Breeze Intelligence only. So now we all have these credits included. And guess what's about to happen at inbound? Some amount of agents, I don't know how many, are going to come out of beta.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it makes, for most of the cases, just like customer agent, it is very hard to define this one should just be for marketing. This one should just be for sales. Like prospecting agents is such a good example. In some organizations, marketing is responsible. In some other organizations, sales is responsible. Where does that, like, if you try to connect it to a sales hub or marketing hub, it's gonna upset people. Probably already does, right?
Yeah.
Because you access the beta in one place and not the other. And we're going to be using credits more and more. And it's just, I'm not sorry if you're not in a place where you can't understand why that's the right way to do it. You're still thinking in siloed budgets like marketing, sales, service. Like if you can easy switch, move to a customer team where this budget exists, and now all this headache that you're about to put on yourself of administration and trying to use all these tools to figure out who is using the credits when, because marketing, sales, and service all have different budget centers. It's just, you're gonna spend so much time and money on this. Just, it does not fit into this new paradigm. And HubSpot's not going to make it easier for you. Like they're going to try and give you the reporting and the analytics related to who, what, when, but they're developing that because they know they have to, because you're asking for it, not because it's the right way to manage this stuff. Like, so it could be so. Step one is understanding this paradigm.
Yep.
Right. I'm not saying it's easy to change your organization, because it's certainly not.
No.
But
considering the tools are they're going to be there, right? And they're
Right.
going to be in your face. And whether you like it or not, like these agents are going to continue to roll out, and they're going to be seriously powerful tools that your teams are going to be able to enable, right? And I got to tell you, like I've been talking to some of the product people, and if you want to know like what they are doing some cool stuff, okay? But you guys, I mean, if you listen to the show and if you talk to me at any length, you know that I'm still like about a year ahead in terms of like, hey, this is what you should be doing at this point. Like, I think there are things we should be doing now. I'm that the Back to the Future, why don't we have the inflatable shoes guy, right? So only I was asking about that like 10 years ago when it was totally feasible. So, ever since they had like micro CO2 for airsoft guns, like what are we doing now? Like, why is this not a thing yet? So anyhow, one of the things I was telling them about is the same that I hear from Mustafa and from Mogadot, which is, it needs to feel like magic. It really does. It shouldn't, like, so one of the examples that I gave, right? Like if you were doing a form, like a form agent or something like that, form automation, and you're doing a new form for whatever event registration that's, it's the new quarter for it or the new year for it or something like that. It should legitimately just be a matter of you asking Copilot, like, hey, can you create a new registration form for that event for this year? And then that's it, right? And then maybe it asks you, like, hey, do you want me to put that on a new landing page, or do you want me to update the old landing page with the new form? Okay. And then once that's done, it's like, are we changing any of the content on the landing page? If so, what are we updating it to? It shouldn't be asking you for complex shit like when you go to the landing page builder, right? Like, you guys want to talk about like vibe. Okay, here's how you vibe if you're going to vibe market, right? Here's how you do that. You have landing page builder, and the landing page builder you go to, and it's like, or the blog builder, it doesn't matter, whichever one. And you just chat to it. You don't even have to go to it. That's the thing. You shouldn't have to go anywhere. It's just Copilot. It's just Copilot. That's it, right? And you just talk to Copilot for all of the content that you have to create. If it's like an email, right? And maybe it's a drip or something like that. You should just be asking Copilot to build these things for you, and it should just go build them for you, right? And I'm not going to lie. If the platform's not doing it, there's someone who is. I have seen screenshots, so it's coming. It's not me. It's not me. Believe me, I'm in awe, and I love it. I love it to death. But yeah, a very, very, very powerful tool is coming to the platform, even if it's not coming from the platform itself. This type of stuff, it again, like, I might be thinking about it and talking about it. It's not just me that wants it, right? And we live in a day and age when you can just develop the software yourself. So if the big box isn't going to do it, you just do it yourself. If you were part of like the World of Warcraft generation, you understand this like 1,000%, because there are so many third-party add-ons for that game. It dwarfs so many other, like, I mean, there are very few. The closest you could come to it is like custom maps for first-person shooters. Like, that's how many like custom options there are for that game, the add-ons that you could just add to your UI, to the game itself, all that kind of stuff, right? It's just like how HubSpot has opened up UI customization. You're going to see some amazing stuff start to happen. And it should. It should be the case that like you can build, again, Copilot features or agent-like Copilot features into that as third party. I should be able to build tools for Copilot, right? That should be, from an admin perspective, I should be able to build MCPs and tools for Copilot. From a user perspective, you should just use Copilot. And that's our relationship. That's it. Yep. Like, you should just be an expert at using Copilot and understanding. So like HubSpot as a software speaks a language, and you understand how to speak that language very well, right? And that's why your job is super important, because you know how to speak it. And other people like don't want to take the time to learn a new language, right? I don't want to take time to learn French. I'll use Google Translate, right? But if that was a person, I'd pay that person to translate the stuff for me in French, right? Like, that's basically how it's going to work. So your level of worth, again, is like how it's based on how well can you translate ideas? How well can you take the ideation and actually like do something valuable with it, right?
Yeah. And to bring it full circle. So if you're an admin, understanding this, like, here's the HubSpot app, right? Like, Copilot is at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I click on Copilot, like, you see that microphone button? Yeah. I can already interact with Breeze Copilot on my phone with my voice. It's already there.
I told you guys this was coming. I told you.
And it's just a matter of them basically working out all the details on making sure that everything can be seen and unstructured data is managed properly, so that it can interact with any user at any time and understand their behavior and what their goals are, whether they're a sales rep or a marketing. Like, that's the biggest difference between Breeze 1.0 and 2.0. It's like Breeze 1.0, they had to rely on their customer-based data set, which was largely Marketing Hub, a little bit of sales, definitely serving the SDR use case almost all the time, lead management, lead handoffs. So anytime you asked Breeze to do something, it was in that tone, and right. 2.0 opens up. Now it's calling and relying on external LLMs much more. And it's gotten so good over the past few months.
It
right?
really is.
Where if you haven't seen it lately, I'm going to start showing it. I'm going to try and start showing it on a daily basis, because it's literally, it's all
nice.
around you, like in terms of how easy it is to access this. So the number one thing you're going to have to manage with your teams are trust, like why they need to trust clicking on that button is a good idea and starting to interact with it from there. And how to have a conversation, how to go back and forth, right? I think most of the training that we'll be doing for the rest of the year is how to have these conversations successfully, how to set up the context, all this stuff, right?
Yep.
And if you can do
because
that,
context, I mean, like to Chris's point, Chris has been talking about it for a minute about context engineering, right? And like, and how much more important it's becoming. It seriously is, right? Like prompting is one thing, like learning how to ask questions is one thing. And that's like how the interaction goes with these models, right? Is you have to just I can't even say, it's like not even like a moving backward thing. I don't know. You just have to put, there is effort that's required. Basically, you just have to, put a little bit of effort behind it, because where it was just a prompt thing before and giving it a little bit of context before, like now the context really does matter, because if like the model being smarter also means that you can't generalize as much, because if you generalize too much on a really smart model, it gets confused because you're throwing generalizations at it, right? If you think that's not how it should work, it's the very same as like what happened with like the custom instructions that we were working with earlier, right? You were asking it for something that may not be the actual terminology that gets used for that thing that you were asking for. So it's having to like make an interpretation of what it is that you're asking for. And in the process of working with it, the interpretation starts getting looser and looser and looser, to the point where even you start giving it this affirmation of, oh, well, if that's the way it's supposed to go, then let's just keep going down that road. And so it just gets looser until it breaks apart entirely, right? And that has a lot to do with, again, like keeping the context where it's like, hey, man, you're stepping outside the bounds. We've already established what the rules are. You need to stick to those rules instead of doing that, right? That's an easy way of, you've now wrapped the context sandwich by telling what you wanted before, and you finally gave it the other piece of bread that said, don't do this, right? So context engineering, pay attention to it. If you thought prompt engineering was the thing, now you have to actually learn how to describe your situation.
Yeah. And the context, like it's got to come from you, right? Like AI can help you get there, but if you don't know which flags to look out for based on its training and what is available to it, I'm going to show one more example to wrap this up today.
Yeah, I gotta say, I write prompts way more, like, or speak them, but I prompt more now than I used to at all. Like,
so we're looking at perplexity here, and I'm showing this because it just happened. I've been playing around. I've been doing this as we've been moving forward in this conversation. By the way, how powerful is that? We're creating content and I'm doing massive
and you're
data
doing stuff.
analysis. And this started with, so I'm doing another show where I'm trying to use Claude MCP to bring up to speed, the data model, right? And every time you ask it to do a new property, it's got to go ping and see all the properties, right? Which is a lot of tokens. You run out of chat space very quickly, right? So now outside of a project, I asked Claude, what's the best way for me to give you documentation that includes all of the properties? It gives me a method that 3 months ago, I would not have trusted this method at all. I didn't even trust it today, right? I just followed the instructions because one thing, like bringing in massive spreadsheets has not, like with lots of tabs, right, has not been a strong suit, at least in my experience, of Claude, right? I've gone to GPT, Gemini, and Perplexity to handle situations like that. Um, and that's what it tells me to do here, including give me the instructions to do the export. So I try to do it the connected Google Sheets route. Didn't work because I think it wasn't clear on, like, I added this connection during the chat, right? And sometimes you have to like show it screenshots of, no, this thing is on, like, please use it, right? So I'm like, all right, let's just, in order to get to there, I had downloaded it already. So I just gave it the Excel file, not the CSV, right? So like this, perfect. Let me analyze it. I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. This is a substantial portal. At this point, I'm much happier with this response than I have been in the past. But at this point, I would have gone to the sheet and started counting rows to confirm some of these numbers.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, I go over to Perplexity. Perplexity Labs, to be specific, and give it both what I gave to Claude and Claude's output to see if there was a match, right? It worked for about 6 minutes and confirmed there's a match. So 100% property count accuracy. All right. So again, Claude, maybe this is a part of the million token like increase. Like there's things have happened since the last time I tried this. So
That it's getting more accurate.
I'm not surprised that it's better than it was before. I'm still surprised that it's like 100% accurate, but again, probably less surprised than most.
I don't know. Like that's the thing is, I've come to terms with the fact that I think I've been telling people that like by the end of this year, it's over, right? By December, you will no longer be able to say, oh, it hallucinates. By December, it's over, right? Like that's going to be the end. And I think for a lot of people, I think for most people, that equals a singularity for them, right? It's this moment in time when humanity's intelligence no longer means anything. I mean, it's kind of already there, but it's whatever.
Yeah. And for me, this is a massive unlock as far as like
huge,
knowing I don't have to do stuff with spreadsheets like ever. Like I'm gonna, anytime I can, I like, just like I do screenshots, right? I'm gonna start doing that with
you validate. Yeah, exactly.
Spreadsheets, right? So then I ask, can you granularly describe the gap between current properties? And so we've done 3 shows describing what we're trying to do with Claude through MCP. And this is where several times, Ryan Ginsberg, Trisha Merriam, and Riley Powell are like, nobody's convinced that it's the right thing to do via Claude, because we all know on some level we could probably go faster, right? Than Claude is. And we have not been proven wrong in that. And now with this analysis, it breaks it down to, look, real talk, there's only 55 new properties. So the fact that when we ask it to do things, it's trying to get all 2,000, or it's trying to look at all the like, it's just not the right way to go about it. So how can we help Claude like focus in, right? And the reason I wanted to bring this up, because even though the analysis is perfect, there's one of these that is terrible, right? So 55 new properties needed across 7 objects. Yep. 3 property enhancements, 0 new objects, 4 to 6 month implementation timeline. Like, what are you doing to me, Perplexity? Are you kidding me? Right?
Well,
Like, this is
because
old world, right?
well, yeah, that's the
This
thing
is
is like
training data suggests that these things take a long time, like at the end of the day,
yeah, but
right?
that's true if a human is doing it, right? Like
Exactly.
if you add
Right?
in that little sprinkle of like, hey, but I'm going to be like, if you just say this project will be AI assisted, how does that affect timelines?
Right. This is where, like, early on in this show, I talked about how I always have to ask AI
Yeah.
to get rid of the human-based timelines, right? So I
The
say I
30,
love
60,
those,
90.
but I think your timeline suggestions are way off the mark. Can AI will likely be doing this work via MCP, knowing that. Can you please update your timelines from your AI native perspective? And this is what we mean when we say learn how to have a conversation, right? Because one, understand that things like that, like as it relates to dates and timelines and like the ability to tell when it's relying on like human-based status quos that are no longer like are no longer accurate based on the AI age. But two, that doesn't mean the rest of the answer is bad, right? Just because it got that one terribly wrong, right? Like I wouldn't. It's not even gonna take humans that like 4 to 6 months anymore, right? To do 55 properties? Are you kidding me? Like
Right.
HubSpot's made it so easy. Maybe in some other, like honestly, in the IT world, you're dealing with ERPs. Like everything takes 6 months somehow, right? That's part of the value of HubSpot. It's like not everything is an IT project,
Right.
but like even though I was just that to me that answer was unacceptable. It doesn't like it doesn't hurt the credibility of the rest of the response like at all, right? And being able to know and say, okay, I guess this should take 4 to 6 months. Like, nope. Like, be like critical thinking in order to know that that's not accurate.
Right.
But also, what we usually see is just like if it were a dashboard in HubSpot, right? You show it to somebody and they pick out one data point that's wrong, and now HubSpot sucks somehow, right? That happens all the time. Like, that's what it means to have a conversation in those moments where we're used to these dashboards and just looking at a project plan. And it's like, oh, that prerequisite is off. So that's going to we got to redo the whole Gantt chart. And then let's come back for the count. Like, nope. Like there's an in between now because we have this collaboration aspect. So let's see what he comes back with. AI native reality check. First, my timeline was completely off base for an AI native implementation approach. Looking at the current MCP and AI automation capabilities, here's a much more realistic timeline. Can actually be completed in 2 to 4 weeks with AI doing the heavy lifting. So getting closer. And I would imagine most of it is like strategic alignment that the right things are in place. Which for me, it's like, even though I'm impatient, I want to go faster as an owner of the business, it's, practically a better practice to not just say, just go make all 55 properties, bro. Like, right? Because I would not do that if I were implementing. Like if there's different use cases being implemented, I want to know that the team understands what they are and that they actually do work in their process as intended. In this world of, let's do 5 months of work of preparation and design, and then just go and build everything, and then not have any hours left for the inevitable changes that are needed. Right? We're just not there anymore. So I thought that was a great example of a very close to perfect answer that I've seen people, misinterpret that outcome on both sides. So all we want you to do is just ask. Like, even if it was just like, man, 4 to 6 months, really? Like, why would it take that long? Even if that's what I would have went back with, we're in a better spot than saying, oh, that's way off. I guess I'm not gonna be able to use Perplexity to help with this, which is where people go, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, so I guess we should wrap up at some point today.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been fun though. Hopefully
Definitely.
this was helpful. If you're wanting help with any of this stuff, we are begging you to ask for help. Whether if it's not from the AI collaborators that we work with all the time, drop us a line and we're happy to jam with you.
Always.
So until tomorrow morning, when we're back on Monday morning with our Value First AI Daily podcast, everybody have a great Sunday. Thanks, Nico.
Thank you, Chris. See you guys.